Rosie just gave me the 1 minute sign so she could go pet the dogs, which who can blame her, right? So for those of you who have a program, you may notice I am not Kevin Hawkins. So Kevin sends his regrets. He got called away at the last minute, but he asked me to share a quote. And he said, he wanted to quote Albert Einstein for this occasion, who said, "The only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library." And Kevin asked that we add Kevin's quote, which is, "Once there, look for the community room named after the greatest library manager of them all, Rosie Vanderhaak." So like all of you, I cannot imagine a better reason to come here together on this beautiful afternoon than to celebrate the storied career of Rosie Vanderhaak. So we are so fortunate to have you here today. So I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of background on Rosie. I'm sure you all have known her in various capacities because she does so much for our community. And one of my favorite things about events with Rosie are meeting all the people who've gotten to interact with her over time in these different capacities. And you learn little by little the enormous impact she's had on our community, not just through the library, but through everything she does. So I just wanted to read a little bit of information about Rosie. You'll forgive me for using my phone for this. Rosie has been a resident of Temecula since 1971 and began working in Temecula's libraries in 1972 when our quote-unquote library was a tiny storefront in Tower Plaza. She went on to be, I hear chuckles, people remember that. She went on to be instrumental in the development of the Ronald H. Temecula Public Library, which opened in 2006 and was hand-selected to be its manager, a position she held with the utmost professionalism and dedication until her retirement last month. Under her stellar leadership, our library has continued to be the most successful in the entire Riverside County library system, with greater circulation, visitors, library cards issued, and program participation than any other library in the county. Yeah, applause, that's right. In addition to her 50-plus years of service to the libraries and literacy in our community, she has also served on the TVUSD School Board for 8 years, the city's Blue Ribbon Committee, and continues to serve on the board of the Temecula Public Cemetery District, a post she has held since 2011. Several years ago, Rosie began volunteering as a puppy raiser for Canine Companions, and I see we have some Canine Companions representatives here in the audience. Hopefully everyone will get their, pet a dog therapy time, feel better about your life, because it's really wonderful. Canine Companions trains and plays, oh, I hear that. We have the disclaimer that she's only 7 months old and she's still learning, so. Canine Companions trains and places service dogs with veterans and others with disabilities, and Rosie has raised 2 puppies, and they're both absolutely beautiful. Even in Rosie's well-deserved retirement after half a century of service, she continues to serve her community in multiple vital ways. So we felt that naming the community room here at this library in honor of her was a fitting, small, very small, given everything you've done for us, but a fitting tribute for her years and years of service. So I mentioned I'm not Kevin Hawkins. I forgot to mention who I am. I'm Erica Russo. I'm the Director of Community Services. And Community Services in the City of Temecula, we wear a lot of hats, but we have the great privilege and honor of working with our library here on a ton of programs. And I can't tell you how much I learned from the years of working with Rosie and how much it expanded my understanding of the ever-evolving role that libraries play in communities. So while I'm sure everyone here in this room doesn't need to hear it, it's just great to be reminded that there are people maybe outside these walls who don't always know, and it's good for us to all represent to them the vital, thriving role that libraries play in our communities. It's far past the Dewey Decimal System, and people go and check out a book, and I think we all know that. So support your local libraries. That's going to be my plug for that. So first, I would like to invite up Community Services President, TCSD President, and Councilmember Zach Schwenk.
Thank you, Erica. As was mentioned, Councilmember Zach Schwenk. I also serve as the TCSD president, which helps to oversee the library in some ways. It's truly an honor to be here today to stand before you as we dedicate this space in recognition of a wonderful, extraordinary individual. For years, Rosie has been the heart and soul of this library, guiding readers, young and old, fostering curiosity, and ensuring that knowledge is always within reach. Libraries are just more than just buildings, something that Erica alluded to. They're not just filled with books, but they're cornerstones of democracy. And democracy begins with an informed, engaged public. That understanding starts here, within these walls, in spaces just like this. My wife and I moved here in 2001, and we started going to Grace Melman Library at the time, and then when this library was opened in 2006, we started coming here. It's kind of just down the street from where we live. And I brought our first daughter. I was a stay-at-home parent while my wife was hard at work as a teacher here in the community. I was a stay-at-home parent. So I had the duties of privilege of taking our children to the library, right? To go to story time, to all the activities that this building represented for our community. And it's just shocking to me that our daughter, who I brought here when she was very, very little for the baby science story time, is now going to graduate from college this year. And Rosie, you've been here the entire time. And I can only speak to that block of time. I know there's a lot more time before that you've also been instrumental in the community. Just on a personal note from myself and from my wife, Jennifer, I just want to thank you for the impact that you've made, not just on me and not just on my children, but on the community as well. So, Rosie, through your leadership, you made this library a place where ideas could be explored, where students could discover new worlds, and where a community could come together in a shared pursuit of knowledge in a day much like today. So as we name this room in your honor, we recognize not just your years of service, but again, that lasting impact, and may it continue to inspire, educate, and enrich for generations to come. So Rosie, on behalf of a grateful community, thank you for everything that you have done. This room will forever bear your name, just as your work will forever leave a mark on our hearts. Thank you, Rosie.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Schwank. Now I'd like to invite up Councilmember James Stu Stewart.
Well, I wish I would have went first because his speech is so much better than what I was going to say. Right, exactly, ditto. No, just the fact that Rosie has been in the library system for over 50 years. I mean, that's incredible for someone to dedicate that much of their life. And when you dedicate that much of your life, it's because you love it. That's the key to everything. You find out what you love to do, and you do it, and you did it. And you did it with grace and dignity, and just, you made a difference in our city. So thank you for that. And just the fact that you're continuing your service with the dog training, and you probably got your fingers in about 3 other things, no doubt. So thank you for all you've done for our city, and I truly appreciate your dedication to the library system. Those who know me, I'm not a big fan of libraries, but I just don't read books a whole lot. So, but yeah, so it's truly a honor to be here for the dedication of this room to you. So thank you.
Thank you, Stu. And I think I'll get in one more shameless plug and say, even for those of you who may not be big fans of reading, there's still plenty of things to do at the library. And for anyone who's looking to emulate Rosie and dedicate some of their time to volunteer efforts, I would like to invite you to connect with Phyllis Roos, who is the president of the Friends of the Temecula Valley Library, or Temecula Libraries. And they do amazing work doing all of the programming that we do here. They fund it through the sales of books in their beautiful bookstore here and over at Grace Melman. So if you haven't been to the bookstore, check it out. And if you haven't been to our programs, check those out too. And we have one other dignitary here today. Supervisor Chuck Washington mentioned he does not need to speak, but I wanted everybody to know he came and showed his support to Rosie. He changed his mind, folks.
I was going to reiterate the no after I heard Zach, but then I heard... Just kidding, Stu. We're neighbors. It's like that with us. Rosie and I, we were hugging outside and just commenting about how long we've known one another. And I was here the day we did the ribbon cutting for this facility. I have a lot of fond memories of this place. We have resided in Temecula now since 2000, after having lived in Murrieta for 11 years. Kind of a funny little story. I was mayor in Murrieta in 1999 when the council voted on a 3-2 vote, and I was part of the 2, to pull out of the library system. And then as mayor, I had to be the one to do the ribbon cutting for the very first library in Murrieta. It was in an old bank, which is now a Starbucks. They built a regular library, and kudos to them for that. But we moved to Temecula in 2000. Our oldest grandchild was born in 2012, and I have such fond memories of bringing her here as she was growing up, going to the library, because my wife and I both love libraries. I grew up as a child in Pasadena, spending weeks upon weeks in the Pasadena Library, which is iconic, as a child through summers. And so I have a great fondness for libraries. Then our daughter had another one. We brought him to the library. I have pictures wearing a Dr. Seuss hat, reading in here. Just a lot of fun and fond memories of what the library has meant to us as a family. We now have a 5-year-old. We don't get to take him to the library much because he's the 3rd child. So we got to figure out more things. Yes, yeah. But, whenever we would come here, there would always be Rosie here with a smile, a welcoming smile, and just to see the kids thriving because they were here at a library and they could read or be read to, and just enjoy the environment. If you don't know, as county supervisor, my district includes French Valley, and one of the proudest things that I've been a part of is we built a library in French Valley, and it's an aviation theme. Go figure, because we're near the airport. But it's just so heartwarming to go there and see the children learning and reading and engaged in library activities. And Rosie, you've just been such a great part of all of that history here. Love you for what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Washington. And, as hard as it was for us when Rosie retired, wondering who could fill such big shoes, we were very happy to have Ginger Safstrom fill those shoes. And she has done so with just enthusiasm and a willingness to jump in and roll up her sleeves. And Ginger, I'd like to invite you up to share a few words. Ginger, or as she's known to anybody who was ever in the children's section here, Miss Ginger.
Well, welcome. This is a tough act to follow, but we're in a library, so I'm going to start with a definition. Dedication. The dictionary defines the word a number of ways, among them the following: a ceremony in which something is dedicated to some goal or purpose, the act of dedicating a place to someone or something, a message that makes a pledge or commitment, the act of binding yourself to a course of action, complete and with wholehearted fidelity. Synonyms for the word dedication are allegiance, commitment, and loyalty. Rosie's library career began in a cramped 750-foot storefront that I refer to as a shoebox in Tower Plaza. My original interview took place at a TV tray. When the library faced closure due to budget constraints, she offered to work free of charge. Temecula's incorporation in 1989 and the resulting housing boom caused demand for a larger, more modern library for our growing community. Rosie was instrumental in seeking support for the building of the Temecula Public Library in 1992, later renamed the Grace Mellman Community Library. Under her leadership, library services continued to flourish and grow, necessitating an even larger state-of-the-art library. The beautiful 34,000 square foot Ronald H. Temecula Public Library, where we are gathered today, opened in 2006 and over 18 years later continues to be exponentially the busiest library in Riverside County. Under her years of visionary leadership as branch manager, the library has provided a dazzling array of library services, programs, and meeting space for countless community groups, businesses, and customers of all ages. And those of you who've worked with Rosie know that she was quite often in this room setting it up herself for many, many of those meetings. So it's fitting that it's being named after her. Rosie has been the hub at the center of the wheel that has kept library services moving forward for the benefit of our community, even when faced with bumps in the road. Working with Rosie for over 30 years has truly been an honor and a privilege, and I have learned so much from her. I want to personally thank you for all you've done. Allegiance, commitment, loyalty. Rosie embodies all those qualities and so much more. Throughout her career, she's made literacy for the young and old a top priority. Her impact on the library and the city has been huge and lasting. And so today we honor Rosie, my friend, mentor, and former boss, for her dedication to providing exceptional library services to our community for an absolutely astounding 50 years. I'm going to repeat that, 50 years. Rosie, you truly are the definition of the word dedication. I cannot think of a more befitting way to honor your legacy of stellar and exceptional contributions to the library, the city of Temecula, and its citizens than by renaming the library's community room the Rosie Vanderhaak Community Room. Congratulations, Rosie. So well done.
Thank you so much, Ginger. That was beautifully, beautifully said. And I know we are in very good hands with Ginger at the helm of this beautiful library. So that concludes our formal program. I just wanted to encourage everyone, as I've said before, invest in your local libraries, take advantage. It's anything you want to do, you can pretty much do at a library. And when you have a chance, give Rosie a big pat on the back for all of her hard work here. Thanks to all of you who've come out. I also wanted to mention our Community Services Commissioners who are here today. We have Commissioner Castro, Chair Dr. Hawks, and our newest Commissioner, Lizelle DeGrave. So I want to thank them for coming out as well. Now that we've all said and heard these beautiful words about Rosie, and I see she's starting to tear up a little bit, we're going to take a little break, go outside, we're going to unveil the dedication here in front of the room, and then I'd like everybody, if you have time, please come back in, have some refreshments, and take some time to chat. Thank you all so much for being here again. I can't think of a better reason for us to be doing this, and thank you, Rosie, for your 50 years. We're all just going to keep saying that. 50 years of incredible dedication to our community. Thank you.